All the USA presidents that have tragically died, some while still in office. Let's take a look at the way how they died and the age they died. Please subscribe. Click the thumbs up button to give us a like and leave a comment below the video. 1. George Washington died at age 67 in 1799, just 2 years after leaving office. He succumbed to a throat infection, likely epiglottitis, at his Mount Vernon estate. Washington's death marked the end of a revered life that shaped the foundation of the United States. 2. John Adams passed away at age 90 on July 4, 1826, a poignant date shared with fellow revolutionary Thomas Jefferson. He died of heart failure at his home in Quincy, Massachusetts. Adams' final words, reportedly referencing Jefferson, underscored the rivalry and friendship of these two founding fathers. 3. Thomas Jefferson, aged 83, also died on July 4, 1826, from a combination of illnesses including uremia. He spent his final moments at Monticello, surrounded by the legacy he helped build. Jefferson's passing on the same day as Adams was viewed as a remarkable coincidence by contemporaries. 4. James Madison died peacefully at age 85 in 1836 at his Montpelier estate. Heart failure claimed the life of the "father of the Constitution" after years of declining health. He lived long enough to see his country firmly established, but was deeply affected by political divisions. 5. James Monroe, aged 73, died on July 4, 1831, making him the third president to pass away on Independence Day. Tuberculosis and other ailments took his life in New York City. Monroe's death added to the symbolic association of this date with the Founding Fathers. 6. John Quincy Adams suffered a fatal stroke at age 80 while serving in the House of Representatives. He collapsed on the House floor in 1848 and died 2 days later in the Speaker's room. Adams is remembered as one of the few presidents to have a significant political career after leaving the presidency. 7. Andrew Jackson died at age 78 in 1845 from chronic illnesses, including tuberculosis and heart disease. He spent his final years at his Hermitage plantation, reflecting on his tumultuous life and presidency. Jackson's legacy remains controversial, shaped by both his populist policies and his treatment of Native Americans. 8. Martin Van Buren passed away at age 79 in 1862 from heart failure and asthma complications. He died in Kinderhook, New York, the town where he was born and spent his retirement. Van Buren's presidency was overshadowed by economic woes, but he remained an influential political figure. 9. William Henry Harrison died at age 68 in 1841, just 31 days into his presidency. His death from pneumonia, possibly worsened by his lengthy inaugural speech in cold weather, marked the shortest presidency in history. Harrison's sudden passing raised questions about presidential succession. 10. John Tyler, aged 71, died in 1862 of a stroke while living in Richmond, Virginia. His death during the Civil War made him the only president not formally mourned by the U.S. government due to his Confederate allegiance. Tyler's legacy is often overlooked but includes significant contributions to U.S. expansion. 11. James Polk passed away at age 53 in 1849, just 3 months after leaving office. Likely a victim of cholera, Polk died at his newly built Nashville home. His short post-presidency contrasted with his impactful tenure, which expanded U.S. territory significantly. 12. Zachary Taylor died suddenly at age 65 in 1850, likely from acute gastroenteritis, though some theories suggest poisoning. He fell ill after attending a July 4th celebration and eating contaminated food. Taylor's unexpected death left the nation in political turmoil during a heated era of sectionalism. 13. Millard Fillmore, aged 74, passed away in 1874 after suffering a stroke. He died in Buffalo, New York, where he had been a prominent figure before and after his presidency. Fillmore's legacy remains tied to his efforts to maintain union through compromise during turbulent times. 14. Franklin Pierce died at age 64 in 1869 from cirrhosis of the liver, a result of years of heavy drinking. He spent his final years in seclusion in New Hampshire, haunted by personal tragedies. Pierce's presidency is often criticized for his inability to ease tensions leading up to the Civil War. 15. James Buchanan passed away at age 77 in 1868, suffering from respiratory failure. He retired to his estate in Pennsylvania after leaving office amidst national disunion. Buchanan's presidency is widely regarded as one of the weakest due to his failure to prevent the Civil War. 16. Abraham Lincoln, at age 56, was assassinated in 1865 by John Wilkes Booth. Shot at Ford's Theater, Lincoln died the next morning, making him the first U.S. president to be killed in office. His tragic death came just days after the Union's victory in the Civil War. 17. Andrew Johnson died at age 66 in 1875 from a stroke while visiting his daughter in Tennessee. He had returned to the Senate after his presidency, becoming the only former president to serve there. Johnson's legacy is marked by his impeachment and his controversial policies during Reconstruction. 18. Ulysses S. Grant, aged 63, died in 1885 from throat cancer after enduring excruciating pain. In his final months, he completed his memoirs to provide financial security for his family. Grant's military leadership during the Civil War overshadowed the scandals of his presidency. 19. Rutherford B. Hayes passed away at age 70 in 1893 from a heart attack. He spent his retirement advocating for education and civil rights in Ohio. Hayes is remembered for ending Reconstruction and promoting merit-based government reforms. 20. James Garfield, at age 49, was assassinated in 1881 by Charles Guiteau. Despite surviving the initial gunshot, Garfield succumbed to infections caused by poor medical care. His death shocked the nation and led to reforms in presidential security and civil service. 21. Chester A. Arthur, aged 57, died in 1886 from kidney disease, known as Bright's disease. His presidency saw significant reforms in civil service despite low expectations when he took office. Arthur spent his final years in relative seclusion, declining in health and public prominence. 22. Grover Cleveland passed away at age 71 in 1908 from a heart attack. Known for serving 2 non-consecutive terms, Cleveland faced health challenges throughout his later years. His legacy includes honesty and fiscal responsibility, though his second term was marked by economic depression. 23. Benjamin Harrison, aged 67, died in 1901 from pneumonia at his home in Indianapolis. He is remembered for his efforts to modernize the Navy and his support for civil rights legislation. Harrison's tenure coincided with major economic changes and growing industrialization. 24. William McKinley, at age 58, was assassinated in 1901 by anarchist Leon Czolgosz. Shot at the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York, McKinley succumbed to gangrene caused by his wounds. His death ushered Theodore Roosevelt into the presidency and marked a turning point in U.S. leadership. 25. Theodore Roosevelt died at age 60 in 1919 from a heart attack while sleeping at his Sagamore Hill home. His adventurous spirit and progressive policies defined his presidency and later life. Roosevelt's sudden death left the nation mourning the loss of a larger-than-life figure. 26. William Howard Taft, aged 72, passed away in 1930 from heart disease. He remains the only president to serve as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court after his presidency. Taft's post-presidency reflected his legal expertise and dedication to public service. 27. Woodrow Wilson, at age 67, died in 1924 from a stroke after years of debilitating health issues. He lived in Washington, D.C., during his retirement, largely confined by his physical limitations. Wilson's death capped a legacy marked by his leadership during World War I and the League of Nations. 28. Warren G. Harding, aged 57, died suddenly in 1923 from what is believed to be a heart attack or stroke. His death occurred during a cross-country tour, cutting short his controversial presidency. Harding's legacy is marred by the scandals that emerged after his passing. 29. Calvin Coolidge passed away at age 60 in 1933 from a heart attack at his home in Northampton, Massachusetts. Known as Silent Cal, he retired quietly after his presidency, avoiding the limelight. Coolidge's leadership emphasized small government and fiscal conservatism. 30. Herbert Hoover, aged 90, died in 1964 of natural causes, living one of the longest post-presidential lives. He is remembered for his humanitarian work before and after his presidency, though his tenure was defined by the Great Depression. Hoover spent his later years working to reform government structures and promote efficiency. 31. Franklin D. Roosevelt died at age 63 in 1945 from a cerebral hemorrhage while serving his fourth term. His death marked the end of an unprecedented era of leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt's passing left the nation mourning the loss of one of its most influential presidents. 32. Harry S. Truman, aged 88, passed away in 1972 from organ failure after a long retirement in Independence, Missouri. Truman is remembered for his straightforward demeanor and decisive leadership during pivotal moments like the end of World War II. His modest post-presidency set a precedent for modern ex-presidents. 33. Dwight D. Eisenhower, at age 78, died in 1969 from heart failure after years of declining health. The Supreme Allied Commander-turned-president is remembered for his steady leadership during the Cold War. Eisenhower's retirement was spent writing memoirs and reflecting on his time in service. 34. John F. Kennedy, aged 46, was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, in 1963, shocking the world. His death marked the first presidential assassination in the television age, amplifying its impact. Kennedy's youthful optimism and vision for America were cut tragically short. 35. Lyndon B. Johnson died at age 64 in 1973 from a heart attack at his Texas ranch. After leaving office, Johnson largely withdrew from public life, deeply affected by the Vietnam War's legacy. His presidency is remembered for groundbreaking civil rights legislation and the Great Society programs. 36. Richard Nixon, aged 81, passed away in 1994 from a stroke, leaving behind a complex legacy. Best known for his resignation amidst the Watergate scandal, Nixon also achieved significant foreign policy successes. In retirement, he worked to rehabilitate his image and advise on international affairs. 37. Gerald Ford, at age 93, died in 2006 from cardiovascular disease, becoming the longest-lived president at the time. His presidency is remembered for its emphasis on healing after Watergate. Ford's quiet post-presidency was focused on charitable work and public speaking. 38. Jimmy Carter, at 99, is the oldest living president, continuing to inspire with his humanitarian efforts. His post-presidency has been marked by work with Habitat for Humanity and international peace efforts. Carter remains a respected elder statesman, even in his advanced age. 39. Ronald Reagan, aged 93, passed away in 2004 from pneumonia, complicated by Alzheimer's disease. Reagan's optimistic vision of America defined his presidency and his later public appearances. His death marked the end of an era for many Americans who admired his leadership. 40. George H. W. Bush, aged 94, died in 2018 after years of declining health. Known for his foreign policy acumen, Bush's presidency ended with a focus on humanitarian causes. His longevity and dedication to service left a lasting impression on the nation. 41. Bill Clinton, at 77, remains active in philanthropy and global initiatives. His post-presidency work through the Clinton Foundation focuses on health and economic development. Clinton's influence endures as he remains a prominent figure in public life. 42. George W. Bush, at 78, enjoys a quiet retirement focused on painting and veterans advocacy. His leadership during challenging times like 9/11 remains a defining part of his legacy. Bush also continues to engage in charitable efforts and public service initiatives. 43. Barack Obama, aged 63, is a dynamic voice in global issues and continues to influence public discourse. Through the Obama Foundation, he focuses on leadership development and civic engagement. Obama's post-presidency is marked by his writings and international advocacy. 44. Donald Trump, at 78, remains an active political figure, shaping the current political landscape. His presidency was one of the most polarizing in U.S. history, and his post-office activities continue to draw significant attention. Trump's ongoing influence underscores his prominence in American politics. 45. Joe Biden, aged 82, is the oldest sitting president and remains focused on addressing contemporary challenges. His tenure has emphasized efforts to unite a polarized nation and address global issues. Biden's presidency is marked by both historic milestones and ongoing political debates.
Thanks for watching. Please support our channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. New videos are uploaded regularly.